Hello, I'm Joyce Woodworth. Welcome to the Spirit of Winona. There are many activities to do in Winona, especially if you like the simple things in life, like a walk around a beautiful path, or a swing on a bench, or fishing in a lake. And we can do all those activities right here on Lake Winona. This lake is truly the jewel of our city. Today we're going to find out how some of the features of the lake were developed, and we're also going to find out how the people of today enjoy its recreational activities. At the turn of the last century, Lake Winona was close to becoming a marsh. The wheat farming that started here in 1860 caused severe soil erosion, and the lake was filling with that eroded soil. Ruth Babcock, who lived on the south side of the lake, took a picture of her uncle Hal Buck in a rowboat. She wrote a description of the lake at this time. The margin of the lake could hardly be called a shore. It was a marsh, ankle to knee-deep, with bulrushes and blue flag abundant. There were two bridges across Lake Winona at this time. One was a streetcar or trolley bridge, which went across at Dakota Street. The other bridge was used for horse and buggies, and later the automobile. That was the Huff Street Bridge, which met Lake Boulevard on the south side of the lake. In 1905, there was a push by the Winona Park and Drive Improvement Association, headed by F.S. Bell, to condemn the 174 acres of land around the lake so that it could be purchased and made into a park. La Crosse Dredging Company was hired, and in 1913, Lake Winona was dredged for the first time. The material dredged from the lake was used to make the present shoreline of the lake and to build a permanent dike and road in place of the Huff Street Bridge. The Winona Park and Drive Improvement Association worked hard to beautify the park at the beginning of the 20th century. They built a 2-story pavilion on the lake's shore. The top floor was an open-air space used for gatherings, and the first floor was used to store canoes. Eventually, it was used as a warming house for skaters in the winter. This pavilion was torn down in the 50s, and the present lodge was built along with a sand beach for swimmers. The beach here was used until the Aquatic Center was opened in the 1990s. This pavilion stood just west of where the present Lake Lodge stands today, and even though there is no longer a swimming beach, the lodge still sees plenty of activity. The F-100 Nationals, for instance, meet at the lodge every summer. This is a gathering of Ford 100s, which are trucks made between 1953 to 1956, and their owners.
This is a 56 F-100 pickup. I bought it out of Nebraska. It's a Nebraska truck. It's modified. It's got a 351 Windsor motor in it out of a Mustang. It's got Volare front suspension. It's got 8-inch rear end out of the same Mustang, and it's what we call the modified truck. It's not a stock truck. It's been modified to present day driving.
Okay, tell me what you're doing here in Winona with your truck.
We're here in Winona for our 21st F-100 Nationals meet we hold here in Winona. It's a beautiful area here. We love the scenery. The cruises are great when we go on cruises, and we really have a good time down here. The city's really good to us. They treat us real good, and so we really like coming here. It's a beautiful city and beautiful spot to have a truck show.
The Winona Park and Drive Improvement Association continued beautifying the park, and just before F.S. Bell resigned as its leader in 1925, he gave the bandshell to the city as a sort of flourish to draw to a close his active participation in park work. The bandshell was dedicated on June 15, 1924. Notice the plaster design in the arch. Lights were installed in each of the circles. This feature no longer exists today, along with the horns at the top of the columns. Elms, which have since died, were planted for shade amongst the benches in front of the bandshell, and the structure itself faces at a slant to the water. designed so that the canoeists on the lake by the old pavilion could hear the music. Today, free concerts are performed every Wednesday evening for the enjoyment of many Winonans. "90-year-old Everett Bilchin, who played his clarinet in the bandshell in 1924 when he was a member of the Winona Municipal Band, waves to us as he listens to Wednesday night's performance, 77 years after the first tune was ever played in this beautiful bandshell on Lake Winona. Behind the bandshell lies the largest of 4 playgrounds that surround the lake, and tonight the children have their own way of listening to the band concert. So, hi, what are you doing here tonight?
We're seeing the banjo.
What are you doing?
We're seeing the band concert.
Children of all ages can enjoy the playground equipment. There's slides made just for the little people, which are safe and sturdy, and large slides for the older, more adventurous kids. There's plenty of safe equipment for the grandmas as well. Band concerts are not the only activity at the bandshell. Sunday services are frequently held here. New cultures to Winona find it the perfect spot for prayer and assembly as they assimilate into our small-town Midwestern life.
When I got to the U.S., I do not know how to speak any English. I do not know how to read ABC. And I was 18 when I got to the U.S. My sponsor said to the principal in Winton High School that you have to give this guy a chance.
Summer evenings in Winona are beautiful and perfect for an outdoor wedding. The bandshell is also a great place to have the wedding ceremony. It has seating for guests, wonderful outdoor acoustics, and surrounding natural beauty. Veterans Memorial Park lies directly in front of the bandshell. 5 monuments surround a gazebo which also served as a wedding chapel. Each monument represents a war that Winonans have fought. The bricks that pave the paths in front of the monuments carry the names of our veterans and how they served. The Civil War monument was the last memorial installed. Strolls around Veterans Park gives one a great opportunity for reflecting on the past and an appreciation for the peace we enjoy in our beautiful city. There's a rose garden facing the back of the bandshell. The path that winds through the roses leads to a Winona stone gazebo, which is another spot for a lovely wedding ceremony. Benches are scattered throughout the garden, giving us a perfect opportunity to stop and smell the roses. The physical and biological condition of Lake Winona is extremely important to our enjoyment of this park. Without occasional dredging, aeration, and weed harvesting, the lake could eventually fill in and become a marsh. Thankfully, the lake is routinely monitored by the DNR and Winona State University. Cal Fremling, former biology professor, being the primary authority on the condition of the lake. Much is owed to the Save Lake Winona effort initiated in 1972, in which citizens of the city began a lake reclamation project that killed 250,000 pounds of rough fish in the lake, installed necessary aerators, and restocked the lake with bass, bluegills, northern and walleyed pike, catfish, and muskies. In 1982, a weed cutter was purchased by the Lake Winona Committee, funded by our citizens, to harvest the weeds. The second extensive dredging of Lake Winona was completed in 1953 when the lake was dredged to an average depth of 8 feet at a cost of $485,000. The current necessary dredging we are experiencing today is the third comprehensive dredging since 1913 and will be at a cost of over $3 million. The dredged material from the lake is being pumped to the lowland areas east of Mankato Avenue and will add industrial land to our city. The goal of the reclamation program started in the 70s was to provide safe, quality fishing for all ages. They succeeded, and at present the lake and its fish are at its healthiest stage ever, thanks to the combined efforts of the citizens of Winona. The lake covers 319 acres and is split in two by the Huff Street Dike. The upper or west lake is smaller in size and has one fishing pier off of Dakota Street, which includes a boat ramp. The east or lower lake is the larger of the two lakes and has one boat ramp and 4 fishing piers, which can be used for catching a variety of things. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi. What are you fishing for today?
Bass.
Fishing for bass. Have you caught any bass yet?
No.
Or what are you fishing for?
Seaweed now, because can't catch no fish. Whoever gets lots of seaweed wins.
Okay, gotcha. Fishing can be done from any of the 5 fishing piers around the 2 lakes. These piers were contributed by several of the service organizations in town who have done much to preserve the attributes of the lake park. The East End Pier was a contribution from Ray Bamanek, who lived in the east end of town and wanted the kids from that area to have a place to fish. Many people use boats and motors of 10 horsepower or less to fish, but I have found that the majority of people just like to use the shore itself.
We get a lot of good crappies and bass, northerns. Depends on what you're after.
What's the biggest fish you caught in this lake?
Probably about a 11, 12-pound northern.
Hi, I'm Rob Feldman.
So what are you doing here today, Rod?
Trying to catch some largemouth bass.
And which is your favorite spot?
Probably right here.
What do you catch here in Lake Winona?
I've got crappies and bass.
Going over there, you try to aim for the brick building.
And what's the favorite fish?
Probably the bass.
Do you cook them?
No,
What do you do with them after you catch them?
let them go.
Some fish have really sharp little fins on the back. Yeah. Caught that one today. Nicely colored. Nice little pumpkin fish. That one. We'll probably got a nice one right there too. Julie caught this one. This is a nice sunfish.
What are you going to do with these fish?
Oh, we're going to eat them. We're going to flay them. Just going to fry them. Pan probably. Better fry them.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Go back and feed your fishes.
Don't make fish. Don't make fishes.
Yeah, those are your fishes.
Whether you're catching the fish for food or feeding the fish you catch, Winona's Lake provides safe, quality fishing for all. Picnicking is another popular activity around Lake Winona. Picnic tables are scattered in various spots around the lake. Small gazebo-type pavilions are found for intimate gatherings, and large pavilions contributed by service organizations and generous donors can be used for more sizable gatherings. Picnicking can actually take part on any spot around the lake.
Can you wave? Show them your cookie. I'm having a cookie. I'm bashful.
Oh.
How come you picked this spot for a picnic?
What'd you want to watch?
Soccer.
Oh, that's why you picked this spot. Lake Park has 2 soccer fields, which Park Rec Soccer and the Family Y use. Today, we see a pickup game between current high school players and past high school soccer players.
All the way across. Push it. Cross. Drop. Give drop. Give back. Ah.
There are 2 Frisbee golf courses at the lake, a 9-hole course on the West Lake and an 18-hole course on the East Lake.
This is a putter. This is a bit wider. I got like, 4 or 5 drivers in here. Basically, you tee off from behind a wooden block down here, and you try to make it into the cylinder down there with chains on it, and every hole out here is a par 3.
Do you play this a lot down here?
Yeah. Once a day, hopefully.
Undoubtedly, the one feature that brings more people to Lake Winona is the bike path that encircles both lakes. This path meanders 5.3 miles along the lake shore, curving around trees and passing wonderful views. It is used by everyone of all ages for all kinds of activities, including walking, running, rollerblading, and bicycling.
We're going to that park.
Ooh, fun.
Going to the park, she said.
I'm going to go park.
Okay.
We live about a block away from the lake, and we use the lake almost every single day. I either jog or bike, or we use this a lot to go biking with my husband, or we'll push him and rollerblade. Zachary likes to bike around the lake as well.
Construction of the bike path began at the East End Lake in 1971. The Rotary Club donated a bikeway bridge over the outlet at Mankato Avenue. But the concept of a bike path around Lake Winona really began with one man's dream in 1968. We really owe the bike path to one particular person who really spearheaded the development of the bicycle path, and that was Bob Welch. And Bob at the time was the head of the Park Rec Department, and I'm currently standing with his wife, Joan. Hi, Joan. Welcome to the Spirit of Winona.
Nice to be here.
And as we all know, Bob passed away a few years ago, but we're all still benefiting from all the things that he did for Winona, especially the bike path around Lake Winona. Can you tell me how he ever got the desire to build the bike path around Winona?
Bob was born and raised in the city of Winona, and he went to school here. And his first teaching job was down at Canton, Minnesota, and we were there for 2 years. And then came back, and he taught at Cotter for 2 years. And after that, he was at the Park Rec Department for the rest of his life. And he always had a dream in the first part of his life there that he would build a walking path or a bike path around the lakes. And I know that it was at a national convention. He went to one of the sessions that was on building bike paths. So then when he knew how to do it, he got more information on things like that. Then he approached the city council on securing money to do it. When he first started out, he would walk the bike path, and there was weeds and everything all over. He would not want to cut down any trees, or if a view was really pretty of the lake, then he would go down close to the water. You'll notice on that side over there, it's all close to the water. When it came time to put the blacktop on it, some of the men thought, well, why are we doing this? It should be a little bit more straight than this. And Bob had to explain to them, well, this is a walking path. You want to take your time and relax on this, and then you see more when you are, it isn't straight.
Right, and that was a very good idea.
I think he wanted it so that everybody could use it, old and young, and it wouldn't cost them any money. You wouldn't have to go to the office to make an appointment or anything else or a reservation to use it. He wanted it so that everybody in Winona could use it because he knew the value of walking. In everything that Bob did, and he had many many big projects for the city of Winona. Once he got the idea in his head or in his mind, no one was ever able to change it.
Well, thankfully for all of us, he was so headstrong, because now we're all reaping the benefits of this beautiful bike path. The West, or Small Lake, is 1.8 miles in circumference and is the only place dogs are permitted on the bicycle path with a leash. At the very west tip of the lake, a bridge was constructed over Gilmore Creek by District 861 in 1977. This area is a favorite landing spot for the great blue heron. The bicycle path around the east or larger of the two lakes is 3.2 miles. The path was completed in 1982 at a total cost of $197,000, $115,000 of which came from state and federal funds. In 1997, the path was resurfaced thanks to the funds raised again by the Rotary Club. A study conducted by Winona State University students in 1990 found that an average number of people using the bike path in May was 1,500 people per day. That was before rollerblades began their popularity. Lake Winona is my favorite place in Winona. I love the beauty and the feeling of freedom as I skate along the bicycle path. Winona can be so proud of its lake and grateful to all the people of the city that have helped develop it and its endless recreational activities. Thank you for joining me today on beautiful Lake Winona. I'm Joyce Woodworth. Till next week, enjoy the Spirit of Winona.